Hello, everyone. Welcome back in episode 3 of Human Behind the Title. So, this is your host, Tahreem Nadeem, and we are welcoming our very well known and experienced personality who are regulator of Qatar, mashallah. So, please welcome without wasting any time, Mr. Jaffar Iqbal Sahab.
Assalamu alaikum,
Assalamu alaikum.
everyone. Wa alaikum assalam, Dareen. Thank you for inviting me. Assalamu alaikum to everyone.
क्या हाल
Yes.
चाल है आपके?
मैं बिल्कुल ठीक ठाक आप कैसी हैं सब ठीक ठाक
तो मुझे आज बहुत ज्यादा ना ऑडिट टाइप की फील आ रही है बिकॉज रेगुलेटर
जी थोड़ा सा जी 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 बिल्कुल
So, thank you so much for joining me today because I can understand year-end closing का time है. You must be very busy. So, आपने इतने peak time में time निकाला. So, first of all, thank you so much कि आपने join किया.
my pleasure Tareen. Thank you very much for inviting me to this and giving me this opportunity to say a few words and express myself. Thank you.
Okay, so without wasting any time, let's start. So, tell me about like yourself, your story, say, or what thing inspired you to choose this profession, actuarial science, and like I want to know everything about you, from state life to Qatar, whole story. किस तरह से कैसे हमारे सामने ये personality जो आज माशाल्लाह से बैठी हुई है, back story क्या है?
These ये बिल्कुल I will mention about लेकिन मैं थोड़ा सा स्टेट लाइफ से पीछे भी जाऊंगा कि how this all started. Life की जर्नी ऐसा लगता है कि अभी शुरू हुई है and it has been more than 30 years now. You won't believe it by the time you realize it's almost gone, 30, 35 years just goes like that. So it all started, I did my matriculation from here from Karachi. And then my father moved his business to UAE. So I did my intermediate there from a Pakistani college. And then obviously after that, you then apply to universities and you would be surprised that I did my intermediate in pre-medical. So I was supposed to apply to medical universities, become a doctor. But as it turns out, that so there was something else for me in store. What happened is that while I was applying there is an uncle, who is actually my uncle. So he came and started living next door to our house in Sharjah, UAE. And my father said, actuarial science is, I have known this for quite a while. It's a very good profession. Why don't you talk to your uncle, go next door and just sit with him and just try to explore. It's based on maths, and I've heard. And why don't you go in and just find out? I said, Papa, I have done pre-medical. I have not done even mathematics in the intermediate level. So don't you think it would be very difficult? He said, no, just go. At this age, you can study anything and everything, but it's good to do something which is unconventional. You have many doctors here. I mean, with respect to the profession, but obviously I wanted to be a doctor. But they said, go and talk and just see. It may work out, it may not work out. Just give it a try. So I went next door and sat with my uncle, who's mashallah very senior. Actually, now is retired, but very respected. Actually, I'll give his name, Mr. Shai Siddiqui. His brother is also an actually Shuja Siddiqui Saab. So my father's first cousins. Those are first cousins. So he said, yeah, Jaffar, that's not a problem. He encouraged me like anything. I said, I'm from a pre-medical background. He said, no problem. If you have interest in mathematics, it's not an issue. If you want, I can help you. I can teach you into mathematics. I said, oh, that would be great. So what happened is, although I've applied for medical universities, but then he said, why don't you come to my house? It is next door. We'll spend a couple of hours every day, thrice a week or 4 times a week. We'll try to complete intermediate mathematics. And if you like it, then we will move to BSc, bachelor's mathematics. I'll give you books on integral and differential calculus. If you like it, then just study it and then you can appear for the first exam. There used to be an exam where we used to have different courses like course 100, course 110, 120. So those were many different courses, and the education systems in society factories was like that. 100 was calculus and analytic geometry. So he said, well, if you think that you like that subject, you can appear in the first exam, and we'll see how it goes. So I took a bit of a time, 6 months and so to get to grips with intermediate mathematics, and then I appeared for the exam and I passed. So the first exam, I actually the exam. So that was the beginning of the story. And then an opportunity came, the actuarial training scheme in state life in February 1994. Applied to that, and fortunately got admitted to that scheme. We were eight of us, and we are all now in different places all over the world. Performing doing their tasks and working as actuaries. So this was the start. So it was very interesting. I joined State Life in 1994 as a trainee, and it was a very fascinating journey. I met many interesting people, learned a lot from people out there, a lot of students at different levels of, who have taken different exams. Some were qualified, some were partially qualified, some were taking initial exams. So it was a very good environment, and it's where that I started, and then moved. So I was there till 2001, and then, in fact, 2003, it was almost 10 years. And then I got an opportunity in the Middle East, which was Dubai, and moved as an in-house actuary in one of the composite insurance companies in Dubai. And I worked there for 4 years. And that's when I got an opportunity. I was introduced to regulation. Somebody told me that there is an opportunity there. Why don't you do it? I mean, they require technical people there. There's a dearth of actuarial expertise with the regulator. So why don't you just try that out? And that's where my humble beginning with the regulatory journey started. I would say from 2007, and it's now almost 17 years and counting. I think with the regulatory authority. So first initial 13, 14 years were with the industry, and the last 13, 14 years with the regulatory authority regulating the insurance industry in many different countries. So I started with Qatar Financial Center Regulatory Authority in 2007, then moved to Bahrain after 4 years and worked there in Central Bank of Bahrain, again, insurance supervision. Culturally, from a regulatory point of view, those are very different regulatory jurisdictions with very different culture and regulatory environment. So that was some experience there. And then I came back to Qatar in 2017, and it's almost 8 years since then. So the journey has been very exciting, to say the least, I would say. I'll stop here. Can go to the next one.
It's very inspiring, and I must say this is like very huge experience and multiple types of experience. You work a different domain. So you have worked in diverse role across Pakistan, UAE, Bahrain, and Qatar. How have these
Hmm.
experience shapes your perspective on the global insurance and actuarial landscape?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. As I said, the experiences has been quite different. Pakistani market has been quite sophisticated in terms of financial services as always. And Middle East also. I mean, if you see Gulf, UAE, Bahrain, and Qatar, they were also developing in those days, and now they are quite developed. So I think if working across these regions has significantly shaped my understanding. And what I have, there have been many different ways I would say that it has shaped my understanding. First, I would say I understood the importance of adaptability. And learned how to be flexible and responsive to different market dynamics and regulatory environments. So that was one. I learned about the different cultures. As I said, these different markets gave me a very different cultural exposure, if I may say, and my understanding of the culture, the working environment, the cultural differences. I thought was very vital in building trust and establishing successful professional relationships. So I view this as a very important thing. I think cultural intelligence, to me, I think has enabled me to tailor my approach to suit local customs and preferences, which has, in a way, fostered better relationship, more effective communication with the people out there. So that was another one. I think by working in different regulatory jurisdiction, I have gained valuable insight that has equipped me with the knowledge and about the different regulatory regimes and the challenges it entails. So that was quite a valuable experience. I have learned about the different. I've seen the evolution of technology, the innovation that has happened over the years, and we are now today in a world of machine learning and AI, or Gen AI, if I may call it. But this critical role of innovation and technology, I've seen it in insurance and actuarial field, and that has broadened my perspective on the potential of innovation to basically drive the insurance industry forward. So that was critical. Another thing that was very important was I have expanded my professional network, obviously, by meeting many different people from different walks of life, different professionals, and it has fostered. I have fostered collaboration with industry experts, and that has broadened my horizon. So I think overall, if you see, it has been very enriching experience, if I may say.
So, how does regulatory work differ from the in-house actuary work? Like थोड़ा सा जिम्मेदारी ज़्यादा बढ़ जाती है as a regulator. इसका आप किस तरह से?
जी डिफरेंट रोल्स हैं अगर इफ आई में कि रेगुलेटरी अथॉरिटी और इन हाउस एक्चुअली में इफ अगेन यू देयर इज इंटरप्रिटेशन पे है अगर आप देख रहे हैं कि इफ यू आर वर्किंग एज इन हाउस एक्चुअली यू आर मोर इन्वॉल्व इन योर ट्रेडिशनल वर्क इट इज मोर इनवर्ड फोकस्ड कि आप यू आर ओनली लुकिंग एट not only I would say but you're mainly looking at the internal operations of an insurance company which includes the pricing strategies, assessing financial risk, forecasting liabilities, and working in other departments to optimize product offerings and so on. So it is more like an inward focus. Whereas the regulatory work, if you are working, there are two perspectives. Either you're working looking after the regulatory role in an insurance company, or you're working for a regulator as an actuary. So if you're working as in a regulatory role in an insurance company, that then your basically objective is to safeguard the public interest and ensuring that in this industry standards are upheld, and you get a deep understanding of the legal frameworks and risk management practices and the ability to interpret and apply regulatory guidelines basically for the protection of policyholders and maintaining of market stability. When you're working as a regulator, the role slightly changes because you bring a technical expertise to a regulator. You have that insurance technical knowledge and expertise. Now you blend it with your supervisory skills, the risk management skills that you have. You assess risk in a different way, not like auditors. Because when you mentioned about auditors, I was about to say, but I didn't. I said that I will probably mention it later. We are different from auditors. It's like we are looking. We look at the many different risks that pose a risk to our regulatory objectives, and try to basically develop a supervisory strategy for a regulator that based on the riskiness of the firms. So the more riskier the firm, the more attention is given to the firm. So by being in the regulator, it gives you a very diverse exposure. You look at this, you interact with senior management, you talk to the board, you talk to many different critical functions like actuaries in the company, risk management function, finance function, compliance, finance, and so on. So, an internal audit, external auditors. So, it gives you a very good overview, a very holistic view of the entity. And believe me that no two entities are the same. हर दो कंपनी अगर आप देखें एक ही टाइप की कंपनी होंगी लेकिन from a governance perspective they would be very different. So that gives you a very broad exposure. By being an actuary just in more inward focus, looking at one company, but as a regulator, you tend to see so many companies, and it gives you a very, very good, very different flavor. So if somebody wants to explore out and just broaden their horizon, I think working with a regulator or for the regulator is a very good option, I would say.
So, as you mentioned, if someone want to work in as a regulatory work, so what do you think? What are the essential qualities or expertise actually should develop in their personality or expertise जो easy हो सके, like for pursuing a regulator job?
Basically, अगर आपको you are saying that basically आपको first of all, what the regulator, you're saying if you want to work for a regulatory authority, then you need to have basically a strong analytical mindset. That you should be able to you should be adept or expert at interpreting complex data, identifying trends, and making informed predictions. Another thing that I would say is important is attention to details. Regulatory roles, um, if there is actually aspiring for the regulatory roles, demands meticulous scrutiny of financial statements, compliance report, risk assessment. So actuaries must be able to spot discrepancies and ensure that सारी documentation जो है वो up to a particular standards हैं जो कि regulatory requirements and so on. Another thing that I have noticed, which perhaps is an area where we need to work on as actuaries, is communication skills, and even our professions put a lot of emphasis on communication. There's an exam on communication, set by many professional bodies. So actuaries in a regulatory position must be able to convey complex technical concepts to non-technical stakeholders. So कोई भी मुश्किल कॉम्प्लेक्स चीज को आसानी से और इस तरह से प्रेजेंट करें कि एक दूसरा आदमी जो कि इट्स नॉट अ टेक्निकल एक्सपर्ट और इट्स नॉट अ तो वो भी उसकी भी समझ में आए तो दैट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट स्किल टू हैव so you can have stakeholders like regulatory authorities, the company executives, policymakers. So you need to have those communication skills that are extremely important. Another thing would be an understanding of the regulatory frameworks. I would say is very essential. जो भी the aspiring actuaries and जो regulatory roles में आना चाह रहे हैं, तो they should have the knowledge of the local and international regulations as well as the ability to interpret and adapt to changes. जो भी अगर regulatory landscape में कोई changes हो रहे हैं, तो they should be able to understand that and incorporate that. Another thing is that हम जिस इंडस्ट्री में काम कर रहे हैं it's rapidly evolving. इसी तरह regulatory environment भी evolve कर रहा है क्योंकि जब कोई innovation होती है कोई चीज़ आती है तो regulation develop होती है इस चीज़ के लिए and regulator. So technological advancement हो रहे हैं, नए risks आ रहे हैं, emerging risks आ रहे हैं. For that, it is very important that we upskill ourselves. And the option is that you do a continuous learning of these developments. For example, आजकल climate risk है या फिर operational resilience के बारे में हो रहा है, protection gaps हैं, cyber security के issues हैं, AI and machine learning hai, generative AI hai. So we need to embrace all these things and learn as fast as we can. Koi certification hai to go for that and upskill ourselves and upgrade ourselves and acquire that knowledge so that we remain relevant and we are able to contribute meaningfully. So I think these are a few things that I thought would help aspiring actuaries.
Sure. Okay. So what achievement in your career do you like most proud of and why? So some sort of achievement है हाँ भाई ये सबसे बड़ी आज तक की achievement है.
What difficult question hai, Tareem. It's not easy because there have been, I wouldn't say achievement, but things that has given me some satisfaction. It's difficult to pinpoint any particular thing, but ऐसी चीजें कुछ हुई जैसे कुछ satisfaction मिला और you got a sense of accomplishment. So एक आध जो I can think of is I was involved in developing the regulatory framework for a particular country. So I was hired as a consultant. I won't name the country, but they included me, inducted me as a consultant to advise them on developing their takaful regulatory framework, which gave me a lot of satisfaction. It continued for a period of time, I think a year or so. But then the whole process, the back and forth, the changes, the evolution, how it has developed, giving me my 2 pence worth, whatever I know, जो थोड़ा बहुत मुझे मालूम है तो उसमें जो कुछ मैं contribute कर सका, that was highly satisfying. इसके अलावा कुछ चीजें हैं जो कि when you contribute in the development of standards at the international level, जैसे international standard setting bodies हैं, so you are part of a working group or a task force or a technical committee. If you are inducted and you are given that opportunity to share your expertise or at least your knowledge, so that they can develop that standard. I think that has also given me that kind of a bit of satisfaction that I've been able to contribute along those lines. Another that I can think of is the implementation of IFRS 17 standard in my jurisdiction, which was a challenging task. So to upgrade myself to understand what is this beast is, which is called IFRS 17, to understand, to get a certification, get the knowledge, and then implement it in the jurisdiction was a challenge. And but at the end of it, you feel a sense of satisfaction. Yeah, you have done, at least you have tried something, in that direction. So I think these are the few things, and there are more. But if you have asked only one, but I've given you more than. Oh yeah.
Mashallah, very good. So थोड़ा सा rapid fire questions की तरफ जाते हैं. अच्छा, so are you a tea person or coffee person? I think you are a coffee person, but you tell.
What can you repeat it? Can you say it again? What kind of person?
Are you a tea person or coffee person? What do you prefer?
Oh,
Yeah.
so what is your guess?
My guess is coffee.
No,
Black
I'm a
coffee.
tea. I'm a tea person. I've seen a lot of people drinking coffee on an empty stomach, 5 or 6 cups a day. But I think I drink coffee, but not to that extent. Mostly tea. But even that I have reduced to an extent. So yeah, but I'm more fond of tea than coffee, and now more green tea, I would say.
Oh.
So,
Okay, so
yeah.
okay, since you have worked in multiple countries, so which one has the best food?
Oh, okay. That's interesting one. Obviously, अब अगर आप यहाँ पे भी डिफरेंट कंट्रीज के इन जीसीसी अपने डिफरेंट यूएई कतर बहरीन उसका एक अपना एक culinary एक्सपीरियंस है एंड इनके भी अपने deep rooted cultures and traditions हैं और region का food you can enjoy here, you feel not just the local food which is the country food, but Lebanese food and in the broader Middle East, if I may say. So that has been I mean, delicious food. I would say I liked it, but obviously nothing like a Pakistani food. The variety that you get, the different flavors and the ingredients, the curries and the kebabs and the biryanis and so on. So nothing like a Pakistani food, but obviously my first preference would be Pakistani, but obviously the Arabic food is also considered very good, especially I like Lebanese food. So it's a difficult decision, I would say, a tough decision for any food lover to make a very clear choice of which one is the best. But but obviously Pakistani food, nothing like it.
So last question है बड़ा सा खतरनाक सा सवाल है. So as an actually you deal with probabilities and life expectancies all the time. So have you ever attempted to calculate your own कितने साल जिंदा रहना है या इसके कभी खुद की लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी आपने कैलकुलेट की?
हाँ, ये दिमाग से बहुत दफा ये ऐसी थॉट गुजरी तो थी, लेकिन it's not easy. It's impossible कि आप जो है ये चीज ना सोचें, लेकिन actually कि क्या odds हो सकते हैं, expectations हो सकते हैं of one's lifespan. लेकिन कि क्यूरियोसिटी एक चीज है, आपको होती है कि हाँ क्या होगा, बट कि आप जो है करें यार, कम ऑन लेट्स गो एंड डू इट एंड कैलकुलेट. लेकिन फिर ये आप सोचते हैं कि अनप्रिडिक्टेबिलिटी जो लाइफ की ब्यूटी है, दैट लाइज इन बीइंग अनप्रिडिक्टेबल. और वो अनप्रिडिक्टेबिलिटी ऑफ लाइफ आप जो है नंबर्स में कैप्चर नहीं कर सकते. So you have to have a balance, a healthy balance. So मैं ये कहूँगा some calculations are best left unexplored to preserve the spontaneity of our experiences. तो हम जो experience जो कि unpredictable हैं उसको जो enjoy ज़्यादा कर सकते हैं, तो ऐसे numbers को अगर हम ना देखें तो बेहतर है life को ज़्यादा enjoy करें, क्योंकि life is so precious and so beautiful. You don't want to spoil that spontaneity, So. So ये था एक, there's a conflicting thoughts कि करूं या नहीं करूं, लेकिन नहीं, just enjoy life.
टेंशन नहीं होनी थी करके. So
हाँ, exactly. So that is what it is.
Yeah. So क्या मैसेज देना चाहेंगे जो यंगेस्ट एक्चुअलीज हैं और जो ये प्रोफेशन परस्यू कर रहे हैं? So because you are the most experienced one, क्या आप
I'm not the
especially
most experienced. I'm also, yeah, जी मैं भी एक स्टूडेंट हूँ और मैंने जो अपना जो मुझे जो सही लगा कुछ कुछ पॉइंट्स हैं जो कि यहाँ पे जो यंग माइंड्स हैं और यंग एक्सपायरिंग एक्चुअलीज हैं उनको मैं ये कहूँगा कि आपके अंदर बहुत पोटेंशियल है. डोंट अंडरस्टिमेट योर पोटेंशियल. आप बहुत कुछ कर सकते हैं. जस्ट एक्सप्लोर योरसेल्फ, स्ट्रेच योर लिमिट्स, एम्ब्रेस योर क्यूरियोसिटी. हमेशा कंटिन्यूसली सीख नॉलेज. कभी भी ये नहीं समझे कि ये खत्म हो गया एंड दैट्स इट. आई हैव मैं फेलोशिप अटेन कर लिया, दैट्स द एंड ऑफ इट. नो, दैट्स वन स्ट्रक्चर्ड सिस्टम आपने एक एजुकेशन का एक किया है, ठीक है, दैट्स अ मेजर अचीवमेंट, बट there's much more to it. So never shy away from challenges. और जिस तरीके से the world is ever changing. तो आपकी जो अंदर जो स्पिरिट है, जो जज्बा है और जो आपका अपनी resilience है, I think that is important because that is something which will shape your future. So I would say be kind, be humble, don't be proud, be courageous, and be always true to your values. And you remember कि ये जो आप छोटे-छोटे steps ले रहे हैं, obviously it will become a big thing and it will become a very brighter tomorrow for you. और एक हमारे जो लीडर एक कहते हैं, मैं उनका नाम बगैर लिए कहूँगा कि keep dreaming big, बड़ा सोचो, and let your passion guide you to extraordinary heights, if I may say. So that is my message. I would say to keep on working hard. Life is it's a lifelong education. We have to seek knowledge. मैं जब मैट्रिक में था तो मेरे एक टीचर ने बड़ा अच्छा मुझे एक टाइटल दिया था कि उन्होंने कहा था इल्म हासिल, उर्दू में, और उसको मैं कहूँगा इल्म हासिल करो महद से लहद तक. उसका ये मतलब है कि your knowledge, seeking knowledge, and your continues from your cradle to your grave. So it's the whole of your life that you have to keep on studying and acquiring knowledge. So that is my message, I would say.
Yeah, it's a great message for everyone. So thank you so much again for your time, and बहुत अच्छा रहा, बहुत अच्छी तरह से आपसे मजे की बातें हुई. So सबको इंतजार है, या सबको अब ये वाली पर्सनालिटी भी आपकी देखने को मिलेगी, बिकॉज यूजुअली यही होता है कि बहुत कॉन्फ्रेंसेस वगैरह में टेक्निकल बातें हो रही होती हैं और सबको क्यूरियोसिटी होती है जानने की कि भाई ये थोड़ा सा रियल लाइफ में पर्सन कैसा है और क्या वैल्यूज हैं. So thank you so much again. And
it's my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, Tareem, and I wish you and all whoever is watching all the best wishes, success, and happiness in life. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.